Welcome to the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube. This is our Awakening Together weekly gathering. Each and every week we have a different minister who speaks. If you'd like to attend our services live, please visit our website, awakening-together.org. Click on Online Sanctuary and How to Enter the Sanctuary. Our services are held Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary.
I want to welcome everyone, and first day out of retrograde today. Yay, from a guy that has his, for all you astrology people, that my moon and my sun are ruled by Mercury, and and to pick a topic was on Thursday, and having it completely changed today. But anyway, I want to welcome everyone, and this is the time that everybody's going to welcome each other, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, that's a beautiful song. I guess we're going to go right into a statement of purpose, huh? Our purpose. We are an assembly of equals, joined in common purpose, awakening to the one self. Within an appearance of many faiths, many cultures, and many symbols, we seek to discern one truth and to rest in its embrace. I got a core value today, and it's going to be core value number 2. For those of you who don't know that these core values and the statement of purpose are coming from Regina's heart of channeling, and they are quite amazing. So core value number 2. We realize everyone is equal, and no one has been given spiritual intuition that is an authority over the spiritual intuition of others. We live this value by listening to each other, respecting each other, and allowing each one to be where he or she is. Wow. What a movie, what a song, what a series. Boy, I attempted to watch it 4 different times. Those of you that don't know it, that's the theme song to Outlander. And I'm going to talk about it after I pray. It was such an awakening process for me. But anyway, let's get in. Let me save that. I have an order here that I have to stick to. Father, I surrender to you. I surrender everything, all my thoughts, my feelings, my words. I want to employ you today. Keep me in line within the boundaries of love, if they have any, that I may be palatable to the ears through your customizing airways of the willingness that everyone that hears, may we all have ears to listen. Give us today's daily bread that comes from you, to remember that you come first, and to remember that, and give us that muscle memory as we go forth with not anger being more important than the truth or opinion, that the truth is before us. It is our journey, and that we are it. Thank you. Amen. Well, I have, before I get into Outlander, I have the reading is going to be done by my good friend Donna Centrelli. And she has 2 readings that she's going to read. And I hope you enjoy them. Donna, take it away.
Thank you, Billy. The first reading is by Albert Camus. He said, "In the midst of hate, I found there was within me an invincible love. In the midst of tears, I found there was within me an invincible smile. In the midst of chaos, I found there was within me an invincible calm. I realized through it all that in the midst of winter, I found there was within me an invincible summer. And that makes me happy. For it says that no matter how hard the world pushes against me, within me, there's something stronger, something better, pushing right back." The second reading. I neither enjoy nor suffer. I am either love while the bodies experience pleasure, or I am love while the bodies experience pain. Enjoyment and suffering apply to a subject. But who is the subject? And where has it gone? Like undifferentiated space, I do not come or go, happen or cease. Who am I? I am you without ideas.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, Bill.
That was beautiful. Nice job. Nice job. Wow. What a week. What a week. What a quarter moon in my life that I've, there were so many things that were placed in my life at this time. I started the 500 with Regina, and I do it, I'm right with the class. My intuition just told me to just to be me and to stay up with the class, and I will get my own curriculum, which I thoroughly enjoy. Not that there's anything wrong with Regina's curriculum, it's just that I've come to know that my path is my path, and it's custom made for me. And I have that firsthand experience with the reality of something greater than me. And I trust that. and I fall back on that, and it's you know, there's just so much that I've learned, and watching Outlander. I don't know if anybody's watched Outlander, but my God, what a series. 4 times I attempted to watch it, and I could not get into it. 4 times. And then I finally, I don't know, it didn't just, I couldn't make sense of it. Everybody was telling me how great it was. And I blasted through the 5 seasons during this time. And my God, it just taught me so much. It just taught me commitment, and it showed me that everything that we're learning here, even the aspect of how the spirit flows through me, and how I stop it, like water. Like I did a sermon, like a homily on water, and how water is like our spiritual path. It's like it's all idea in ice form, and then if we join the flow, it turns into water, and we flow with its current, and then it totally evaporates into its vastness with God, to showing that it's even has a lesser density, that with much more space to it. And this series just taught me so much about commitment to love, and how much love there was available, and how much I wasn't using. It reminded me of my I went to the Academy of the Course in Miracles. I don't know if I've told this story before, but I was in session in the morning with Master Teacher after he does his thing with whatever his spin is on the day, or whatever lesson he wants to teach, and then we start dancing. We dance to big band music. Okay. And I was, before that, when I first got there, I was talking to my AA sponsor in the parking lot, and I was saying the same thing to my sponsor. I says, his name was Buddy. And I says, Buddy, I says, I just can't realize how much I don't love, and how much love's available, and how and these people have so much more love than my mind allows. Getting back to the mind, and it's what it does. I mean, it's what the assignments I give it, and how limited it is, but there was a master, Diana, who was beside me, and she was talking to someone, but she could, the car's windows, I speak loud, and you could hear me speaking, and she's laughing. And I said, I was telling them, I don't have the ability to love as much as these people do. So during my stay there, it was, there was a dance. We dance afterwards, and I love to dance, and I'm dancing with Master Diana, and it was like we were holding up a ball of love between us, and I was trying not to, I could see that I was just trying to give my whole heart to it. And I'm giving my whole heart to it, and I'm holding this ball up of love between both of us dancing, and I'm holding this, and the ball is rolling and rolling and rolling, and every time it was like it was that Celestine prophecy moment where I started thinking about it. As soon as I started thinking about it, I started to fall down into into another density where I'm getting ready to noun I'm nouning the idea of love, and it's getting ready to be a thought. And I was, and I sat and I could really feel that she's watching me struggle doing it. I'm getting it back up there, and I'm letting go, and I'm totally letting go. And I was able to hold it for a good 17 minutes or something. It was something like that in my time. Okay. And then I just broke into laughter. I couldn't do it anymore. And, I forgave myself. I accepted myself, and it was the same thing that this thing here is, this Outlander. This commitment to love, where I begin, and then I step into it, and then love comes back, and then there's that circle, that we talk about, like the first will be the last and the last will be the first. And I'm going, what does that mean? And I'm going, well, everything comes full circle, Billy. So if it's first, if it's last, then it's that doesn't have an order. It's part of everything in that volume of the flow of everything becoming what it is, as it is all the time. We've got the both densities of right and wrong, and holding both, seeing both sides and holding both sides. Like, I learned how important it was to examine both sides, in duality, this pathway on this journey, especially an Outlander. I don't know. I'll give you a brief one. First of all, we learned in the Course it takes two to enter the kingdom of heaven, as one. As one. So you can't leave your brother out there. You can't leave the other side. You gotta see the other side. So here, this woman, she lives in, she's thrown into 200 years of going back into the 1700s, and she finds herself there, and whatever. I'm going to make the long story short, because I can talk about this forever, but there's so much that she's going around, and she's in love with her. She lost her husband. She can't get back to him in the 1900s, and who she was back then, and she gets to see that she's a healer. She gets to see that she's got medicine from the, because she's a surgeon in Massachusetts, and I think it's the Mass General, but anyway, she's a surgeon, and but she's got all these. She's on both sides of the penicillin line, and they don't have penicillin back then, and she's been vaccinated for scarlet fever and smallpox and typhoid and all these other diseases, and she's a healed healer. And she gets to see where she's an unhealed healer too. And she gets to see that and it's like my journey, I mean, how when you watch a movie and you jump from character to character, and when I first started this movie, my heart wasn't that open, but it was that time when, life was like the horse that was the trainers in the middle, and they're making them go round and around and around. And then all of a sudden, you exhaust each other's ego, and then you measure the intensity of the problem, and what I had, like I had to find out who I wasn't to find out who I was, kind of thing. But in a horse ring, when as soon as the exhaustion is done, and the trainer turns their back on the horse, and in a complete surrender, or you don't want me or you do want me, and most of the time the horse comes up in that surrender where there's a union, as long as your back is turned, and that's how the bond happens, and that's how everything's been happening to me in my journey. I have such a blessed journey, that I get to see the changeless reality. I get to experience the changeless reality that's going on, that love is always love. No matter what goes on, love is always love. And I'm in a changeful world, an ever-changing world. It's like there's two saucers going around, and I have to hold both of them to be one, to live in that oneness. And when I'm in that oneness, there's no words. There's no language. You can't, and I got, you get there through discernment, through, discernment, footstep work, the work with, I've done them all. And because I wanted to, because I just, to look in, the commitment to look inside and to see what's really in there, to see the exact nature of my wrongs. And when I'm seeing the exact nature of my wrongs, I'm seeing the exact nature of my rights. And it's like the base of a triangle, and the intensity of both sides, even in the political arena, of Democrat, Republican, black, white, big, tall, short, right, wrong, however you go on this horizontal plane, and then as you exhaust both sides, and you do this with that loving all method, that Michael Langford, I think it is. I don't know, I'm not great with authors, but we all know the loving all method. And that loving all method was something that, when I was doing it and I was reading it, and when I could do the assignment when I'm in the room of doing the assignment, but then when I employ Billy to meet the demands of the world and we're off, it's out the window. Okay. But through this, this observing thing that I'm going to get into later, and watching, as this pyramid's being built, of holding both sides of how everything in these last 3 months before my last homily, and during, and after my last homily, how everything, this movie, Awakening Together, the 500, my AA program, my job, I'm in the twilight of my career, and whatever. There's all the things that are making Billy's soup, and how the journey is. I love my journey. I love how it was laid out for me, how I was trying to get my own attention the whole time, to get to find the real, to see the real nature, to recognize the nature of who I really am, and getting back to that. I'm jumping back and forth because but Outlander just showed me how love, in the midst of all that, all the the 24-hour periods of being the flow and then getting stuck in the adversity, and trying to trying to capture the noun of the feeling that, oh, I know what love's supposed to be, but I'm not allowing love to flow and to love it as it is. I'm trying to do it out of memory, and I'm getting caught in that, in that I'm not letting the changeless reality, get, it's getting caught up in the idea of how love should be, and how, and I'm trying to remember a feeling, and just sitting in that silence, and letting the silence, and the consciousness and silence create the, create the experience in a different way. And it's such a trap, this 24-hour period that you get up in the morning, and how am I going to be in the flow, of changeless love in a world with all its objects, in my mind. And then I have this changeless reality that's always there, and I had to learn by, forgetting. And I forgot to remember. And then I forgot to remember for I used time to forget to remember. Am I going to remember that I'm one with God? But boy, that has levels of ego, letting go. But as I'm climbing toward that top of that pyramid, where both time and ideas are being collapsed, and understanding now takes on a whole new meaning. And I'm using all the tools where I can start to feel my own contentment, that there's peace in I can choose peace instead of this. All these tools that I've I learned through the course, and all the suffering I did in my drug addiction, and how important all of it was, and how important it was the mind process, the mental process of actually stopping the mind because of my drug addiction, because I couldn't take it anymore, and I learned how to do it the wrong way. That, that one more good thought, Billy, was going to kill you. And to really understand that, and then to take that into a daily 24-hour period, and seeing how my good thoughts are imprisoning me, and how all thoughts are so limited in there, and how the mind has a how I overburden the mind. Its assignment is too much. I burden it beyond its own skills. And it took me a while to get this, and I got it by that feeling like I was a fraud, like when you think you know something, and you know it, but I'm doing it, I'm going to do it, but I still feel like a fraud kind of thing. And because I'm giving the mind something that's out of its skill set. I'm overburdened with it. And when I'm in the mind, it just keeps going around and around and around. And, and until I get to observe it, and the power of observation, the power of just sitting back and observing a movie and seeing how far that the love that was going on in Outlander, and how it just handled all the obstacles of the day, and how it was, you know, and the twists and the predicaments of this woman in 200 years apart, and how she had to handle it, and she could only handle it in love. And sometimes the world wasn't ready to receive it, but she was, you know, and, you know, the love story was just, you know, the transactions that in this ever-changing world, that we, you know, and love being so bold in every transaction, you know, where friendship, honor, and tradition held their place, but love was still everything, you know. They even had the ability to change time in this thing, in this mini series. They were trying to change time, but the divine time always won out. You know, I mean, they were trying to stop wars from happening and stuff like that, because she's coming with history of what's supposed to look, and she's trying to alter history, and oh, it's just brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But this and it's a big part of even today of coming out of this retrograde and trying to, and having a homily that was all set up on Thursday, and then I had to undo it. And because, Billy likes to break the rules, and then I had to sit with that, and that had its own learning process to it too, and I had to observe that too. I've learned so much through observing. And, I had this whole Mooji tape, this whole Mooji thing of eye watching. And, in AA and in the 12 steps, there was a phrase: it's more important to know where you're coming from than to know where you're going. And, and I got to learn that, I carried my cross for a long time, I didn't want to change my mind. I had one mindset for 43 years, and I created an architecture for my belief system. It had a framework with beliefs, and nothing was going to change my path. And then all of a sudden, those tools weren't working for me anymore. But it was all part of my journey. And it was such a blessing to know that there was another way, because I wasn't a happy camper, even though I had everything in the objects of the world. I was not a happy camper. Most of the way I was just trying to develop an understanding. I was developing a divine understanding. And then even that, as I get closer to the points, even that of holding both sides, and even the political gamut that was going on, the polarity in the political world, and how, I don't want you to judge me. I want you to love me. Okay. But even the political gamut of, I'm a Donald Jesus Christ Trump guy. Okay. And that's who I was trying to teach that. I was trying to teach everyone that it was such a liberal, it was such we're such in a biblical time, And I had to I was so intense about it. And that had to bring me to a different surrender, I had all the evidence and it doesn't even matter. And the other side's got all the evidence. And this has nothing to do with what I'm saying. It has to do with what I had to let go of to get to this new consciousness, this new place, of, to live in the culture of where sometimes the challenges are there. And I want to meet them with my ego. And, I'm, everybody has to learn in their own time on what it's like core value number 2, and I have to respect that. And as I'm going up both sides of the pyramid here, and there's caterpillar, I'm looking down and there's caterpillars on both sides without the butterfly wings. Okay. And I can't blow air into anybody's wings, grab them in my hand and make their wings, because that you can't. The process is the process. The awakening is the awakening. It's going to happen. It's going to happen for you. Okay. And to you, but it's your journey, like mine is my journey. And there's just, there's so much said for observation, and Mooji was talking about it in his eye watching, and I was not able to play that for you guys instead of the reading, but I'm going to read some of the transcript from it. And I'm going to tell you how it happened, how it came to me, and and how all of it came together for me in this period where it was just me and God, and then beyond. So I don't know if I can share the screen, but I'm just going to read a little bit from this. Mooji says, each time you speak, if you watch, from what position do I speak? Is it from the person or from consciousness? And what does consciousness need to say? And if it is from the person, is there not the witness to this person? So we've been taught that here, to witness. We've been taught before we got here, through even in the Course of Miracles, to be responsible for what we think. But then this is going even beyond that. This is going beyond the puppet master of choosing wrong-minded and right-minded, and if it's from the person, is it not the witness? Is there not a witness to the person? I would ask you to care to find out, because that simple discovery is going to be greater than anything that the person can achieve. Can I say like that? He says. Yes, he goes. I'm going to shrink it down to baby food language. When you speak, when you talk about your life and the world and your travels and your journeys and your hopes and aspirations, and when you say, where is this I starting from? Watch and see. Is it starting from your person what your person says or aspires to become? Am I still creating creating a God to help me, design my world? Or am I letting God be? So I can understand both sides. Am I going to exclude my brother, where it takes two to enter the kingdom of heaven, as one? As one. And then I got to see that consciousness. I got to see that silence. I got to live in that vibration. In understanding, there's a bridge that meets both, where the electricity flows, where there's a forgiveness and an acceptance and an understanding that just, and then there's a let go after that, where you don't see, you just see all of it, and you can't talk about it, because once you talk about it, you're going to slide down the slide. You're going to slide down the side of a pyramid, either one side or the other side. As soon as I start talking about it, I'm in it's a slippery slope, and there's going to be a favoritism, and that's how it works for me. Watch and see. What am I starting from? It will never reach, whatever your person says or aspires to become, it will never reach or attain or be anything near as magnificent as that which watches the person speaking. What I'm saying now to you, I hope you can recognize and prove into yourself. It's a reflex somehow to speak like this. Yes, I'm going to do this. And then he goes on to do this whole thing about being in a cafe and listening to people, I, me, and stuff like that. But the power of observation, to see that, to see where am I coming from? And to hold, and I can't get there until I can hold both in equal esteem, like it says in core value 2. Because then there's a bridge. And that bridge has an ongoing escalator to it that just keeps you above the battleground of both sides. And and I can't talk about that space. It's a space of a knowing that knows, and a knower, and there's a beyondness to all of it. And it all happens in the simple task of observing. It's like I just need to observe more rather than to go with my reactions. The more I observe, the less I enter into the noise of the world so quickly, and we are so much in our actions, in our interactions, in our reactions, and doing less observing. And this power to observe, there's such a let go, and there's such an expanse that I'm capable of. And that's something else that I learned in Outlander. This expanse of how much power supernatural powers I share with God. I share in let go. I share in surrender. I share in letting the water flow. Even though my first intention, on Thursday, there was a dam put in my flow, and then the water of my spirit found tributaries to get to the same place in dry streams along the way, and I filled them up with that same water. And this is an ongoing process. That's my day's not gonna, I'm not gonna have adversities. I learn just as much through adversity as I do through my happy dream. And then I'm holding both. And how they're all connected. And how the one, when, there was a, in the 500, we went through the, there was a saying that, am I seeing two, or if I'm seeing many, then, and I'm not, then am I making two, or am I making one? All these little tools, all these little rungs in the ladder. We had the Canaan woman along the way, and Jesus is on his path, right? And the Canaan woman says, Jesus, my daughter's totally possessed, and you got to get her out of this. You got to perform a miracle. And the disciples are going, why don't will you do something to her? She's being a pain in the ass. Can you do something to her? With her? And in her process of agonizing and going through her suffering, that Jesus is in his silence, she gets to the surrender, and it says, well, if it's God's will. And then Jesus says to his disciples, well, if there's a call for love, love cannot not answer love. And when she changed her, you could say even her prayer, how often do you spend on your knees, and then all of a sudden how your prayer becomes you, and then then God is praying for you. And the same thing with the field, with the guys that go out into the field. The guys he's in the local bar or something like that, and he's trying to get guys to work in the field, and some guys show up at 9 o'clock, and some guys show up at 12 o'clock, and some guys show up at 4 o'clock, and they all get paid the same money. And it wasn't about how much you did. It was the intent that you showed up for God, no matter what time of day that was. No matter where you were on your path, you're going to get the same thing. You're going to get the kingdom of heaven when you lay yourself down and you see just one. So, I'm in love with my path. I'm in love with the full circle of it. I'm in gratitude the way that it unfolded for me. Yeah, it was hard. It had to be hard to get my attention. And I had to learn how to be soft and talk about it. And to find language so I could be of service, and to know that that I am being led. And we do have a program on Tuesday night as well, that we talk about the Gospel of Thomas, and we get to go beyond the scriptures, and everyone's invited to that. But this oneness, this being one, and however my path was laid out for me, in my Hansel and Gretel chips that I put along the way, and me observing them, you know, to be in love with me and to love me all the time. And it starts there. And that's not an idea. You know, that is a truth. To see that there is no path when you come full circle, and the last and the first make, and the first and the last make this, you get to really know what that means. Oh, great. I had fun with the songs. Let's see, we have, if Don can put that, the donation, we are self-supporting through our shares, and Don's going to put that up, put that on the chat, in the chat room. And I guess we can open it up if anybody has anything to say. And it's fine if you don't. You know, I'm just so grateful. Donna, you have something to say? Go ahead, Donna.
Billy, something that you said at the end really struck me. And if you have a couple of minutes to say something more about it, I'd appreciate it.
Go ahead.
You said there is no path when you come full circle.
Yes. When you come full circle, that you know that you are God, that you know, you've used time, you've used, God was outside you, then God was inside you, and then you become one with God, and you've lost your way, but you found your way, and there is no path, because in that present moment, you know, when you're in the presence of the present moment, there is no path. We've used time as separation, to see two. You know, we have an absolute as zero, and then there's one with God, and then one makes two, and then, you know, I mean, they're doing that now in the four principles of God. I think they're doing that this weekend. But you know, to surrender to that moment where it's just you and God, and not your sick kid, or not your, you know, it's just you and God, and the intention that it's you and God first, and what, you know, God's will is going to happen, to surrender that God's will is going to happen anyway, you know, and in that place where, you know, you learn these little tools like, don't let my mind get a hold of this. Okay. You know, because once, you know, there's like this, you know, there's a consciousness that talks, you know, and yeah, you can start a journey again. You could start a journey again to get your own attention, but Donna, it's really just you and God as one. And your brother, and whatever the situation is, wherever you are on that pyramid climb, you know, of both sides of the adversity and the right-mindedness, and whatever it is, and God-mindedness, or however you want to call it, there's a collapse, and there is no path. You're there. So that's how it works for me.
Thank you, Billy.
Wow. Anybody else? Yeah. There was so much that came to me, and I'm calling it a quarter moon time of that's what it felt like before I came full circle, and I became a droplet into my own rain, my own mustard seed. I saw how much rain was needed in my mustard seed just as much as there was sunlight. And man, I need both in this world to get to see that changeless reality. That's love. That's always love. Anyway, thank you guys, and thank you for being of service. And I think I've overextended. My bad. Dawn, take it away.
You've been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.